that's everyone in. As you can see, I can see people are introducing themselves, which I should do. I'm Jon Nott. I'm the chair of the trustees of the Co-operative College. So I'll just start with a few housekeeping announcements. Firstly, you should have had a notice when you joined that the AGM is being recorded. And secondly, if you can ensure that your microphone is set to mute, just so we don't get any noises off whilst we're running the meeting. I've mentioned the hello. There is both the chat, but there's also the Q&A function. So if you have questions when we get to the presentations, please use the Q&A function. Please use that throughout. Now, if you think of something as someone's saying something, stick it in the Q&A and we'll come to those at the end. Obviously, something may get answered as the presentations go on, and we can then pick up the things that aren't at the end. As I say, great to use the chat for introductions, but please don't put questions in there because they might get missed. And then, as always, if for any reason we're unable to answer questions due to time, we will pick those up by email after the AGM. So I think that's all the housekeeping. So let's look at the agenda for today. So firstly, I'm just going to ask formally if we can approve the minutes of the last meeting. So I just want to give anyone the opportunity to raise any queries or matters arising from the minutes of the last AGM that aren't already on the agenda for today's meeting. Great. Okay. So with no dissent, I will take those minutes as an accurate record. I'm going to give a short introduction, and then I will hand over to Jacqui for the finance and Neil for the updates, and then we'll have the Q&A at the end. It's been another year on the long, slow journey of transformation that the college has been on for some time. But I think, as you'll see later, we're starting to see sort of the fruits of all those years of hard work. I'm not going to steal anyone's thunder, but we are looking forward to sharing with you a number of updates on things that we've announced at previous AGMs, and also announcing some new exciting things this year. There is a lot to tell you, so I'm going to hand over straight away to Jacqui for last year's finances, and then to Neil for the updates on the report on last year and the exciting new plans. So I will, at this point, stop talking and hand over to Jacqui, but please remember to put questions in the Q&A as you go through, and we'll come to those at the end. Thanks. Jacqui.
Thank you so much, Jon, and I am delighted to be here with my first AGM for the Co-operative College. I'm Jacqui. I joined last Director of Operations and Business Development, and lovely to see some names that are familiar to me already. So thank you to those of you who have been in touch with me since I joined, and to meeting many more of you over the next few months. As I said, I joined in October, so I'm talking to the period just before I joined, the financial year ending in July 2022. It was a tough year, a significant effort and time spent on the developing of the new strategy. So that was all about creating a college fit for the future. And I think we'll see from the report here that we're starting to see the fruits of that. My first thanks go to the trustees, and particularly the reconstituted, or newly reconstituted, I should say, committee, who have been tremendously supportive and equally challenging us as we kind of head on our journey towards financial sustainability. So the year that was 21 to 22, although it was still loss-making, and the indications from that year are that we are starting to see some of the improvements that we anticipated through the restructuring and the reshaping of the strategy through the year. So both expenditure and, most significantly, the operational losses were halved in the period from before, which is really encouraging. I think our biggest challenge that I want to share, because we are definitely on a journey and it's going to continue to be challenging, and what's really challenged us and will continue to do so is the fact that we no longer have any unrestricted core funding from the wider movement or elsewhere. And for us as a leadership team, as trustees and as college, that is our key priority over the coming year, to replace that unrestricted funding through a range of opportunities, including philanthropic, as well as excuse me, diversifying some of our business activities. The one exception I'd like to call out here is just to say a huge thank you to Central Co-op, who have just reconfirmed their annual gift of unrestricted funding for the year ahead. So we'd like to take this opportunity to thank them publicly for that. We really do appreciate your support in that regard. The other exception goes to you, our members, who continue to support us. Thank you. It is the financial, excuse me, I've got to plug, the financial support that you show us through your membership, but equally important is your advocacy and your ambassadorship, and the referrals and sharing of us and how we can help those in your network. We're really grateful for that. And I'm excited to share later with you an update on our membership proposition, which begins to recognise how key our membership is to us and our viability in the future. The next 45 minutes, we're going to share some of how we are diversifying both our products and services and also our client base, with the aim of becoming more relevant, more resilient and sustainable as we look forward to the year ahead. And we're really looking forward to hearing your feedback on some of that. But I would like to point you to, and I will pop this in the chat, the link to our annual report, which is now available on the website, which has got all the detailed financial report as well as some commentary. So please do pop any questions in the chat. And yes, thank you very much. We look forward to hearing your thoughts. And I will hand over to Neil for the next set.
Thank you, Jacqui, and thank you, John, for the introductions. I'll begin with an apology in that I've got a bit of a frog in my throat and a cough today, so apologies. I shall try and be as clear as I can. But it's great to be back at the AGM. I'm almost at the end of my second year at the college, although this is in fact my third AGM, and it's interesting for me to reflect back on the previous two in terms of some of the things that we're going to discuss about progress at the college, but also looking down that today's participant list and realizing that since the last AGM, I've now met an increasing number of you on the call in 3 dimensions rather than just 2, which in this sort of hybrid world we live in now is a real pleasure to move from one to the other. So what we'd like to do is to take this opportunity to update you on a few highlights from the past 12 months, but also to look ahead at a few, as has already been suggested, a few exciting things that we have to come. Time's obviously limited. Some of this, hopefully, if you are one of our members, you will have seen already in our monthly membership newsletter. If you haven't signed up for that, please do. But I'll also take this opportunity to say that if you don't follow us on social media, kind of recommend that you try doing that too. I'm going to take this chance just to say how wonderful my team is. I have a fantastic team of staff at the college. They've been doing some amazing things over the last 12 months, but increasingly they've also been very, very good at sharing those things in real time as they happen and doing so on social media. So while we'll give you a little snapshot of what's happened and a little glimpse into the future, I would certainly recommend trying to follow us if you don't already and learning a little bit more about what we do on a day-to-day basis. So to do this, both looking backwards and also looking forwards, I'm going to use what this time last year was announced as our new strategy, and we're going to divide this up into the 4 strategic themes that we published exactly a year ago, following a multi-stakeholder consultation to ensure that we were really clear about the direction, the purpose, and the values of the college. And I'm going to begin, as you might expect, on the left-hand side with cooperative learning. So the other key point that we raised last year was in respect of higher education. Those of you that are familiar with the college, and I know some of you have been its friends for a very long time, will know that there's been a commitment to moving towards cooperative higher education ever since the college was founded in 1919, although I recognise none of you knew it quite that far back. Last year, as we said, we'd recognised that the barriers to an organisation of our size setting up a new university right now in the current climate were probably insurmountable. But at the same time, we were really clear that it's our strategic aim to develop substantial, meaningful partnerships. We know there's demand, but we also know that any offer that we come up with needs to be flexible and has to be right, both commercially and also in terms of values. So last year we teased a potential partnership with the University of Dundee. I'm absolutely delighted to be able to say that over those 12 months since we first hinted at this, there has been major progress. Now, I recognise quite a few names on the call of people who are familiar with academic partnerships, and some of you will know that they are difficult and complex and often quite slow moving. So it's with real pleasure that I can say that we've now received all the approvals that we need in order to really move ahead with this partnership between the Cooperative College and the University of Dundee. And while I'm not going to read the slide back to you, we've presented it in this way purposefully to make clear that this really is a partnership of peers. So as the college, we proudly bring some real strengths to this partnership, and they won't be strengths that are unfamiliar to you, as you see on the left-hand side. The real joy for us is that we have found a partner that brings as much, if not even more, to the partnership as well. And you will see there the reference to Dundee having the fastest growing business school in the UK, and also to its reputation. What we didn't say on this slide, because it's so hot off the press, is that this month it was also announced as the Herald Higher Education Awards University of the Year in Scotland for 2023. So we're incredibly proud to be able to confirm that we're moving ahead with this partnership, and particularly grateful that the Dean of the Business School, Professor Maurice Altman, is already an academic leader in cooperation. So this feels like a great fit. And you may well have already sensed, both from me and from some of my colleagues, quite how excited we are about this. So what will it look like? Well, I need to be a little cautious at the moment. This is not our formal launch. I think we would probably think of this as our soft launch. But this is significant in that we are at the moment designing modules which can be used in a variety of ways. Importantly, these modules of learning can stand alone using a micro-credentialing framework, which means, frankly, that a learner can take them, can follow the course, can complete the assessment, and assuming they're successful, receive credentials at what those of us in England would know as Masters Level 7, and in the Scottish qualification framework would be called Level 11, but essentially a module of a Masters qualification. And those modules at the moment are being developed with one exception, as being 20 credit modules. However, as well as studying them individually, which will be right for lots of learners, there will be opportunities to aggregate. So taking all 3 of our 20 credit modules would then allow a learner to achieve a postgraduate certificate, which is entirely focused through the business school on the cooperative model. And one thing that's been on my mind recently is that we are now able to look forward with some certainty to the first time somebody will walk across a stage to receive an award, knowing that that has been developed in partnership with the Cooperative College, which is great. However, there's more, because it will also be possible to add further modules from Dundee's own business school programme to build pathways towards postgraduate diploma and even their full global MBA award. You can probably understand why we are quite so excited about this. And in terms of those modules, well, this is where I do need to be extremely cautious because these are still draft titles. However, you can see in front of you that there are clearly 3 module titles which you will recognize as really getting to the heart of the cooperative model, cooperative values and principles, and understanding what co-ops are all about. Each of these 3, the ones in green, pink and grey, will be 20 unit modules. And as I've said already, will be able to be studied independently. Interestingly, without giving too much away at this stage, we're hopeful that the cooperative enterprise in a global context module will involve certification where learners are actually asked to do a critical study of a cooperative sector or part of the sector, perhaps in a certain country or a certain part of the world. And we believe this is going to allow us to make this tailorable for particular settings, for particular clients. Really exciting opportunity. And in the bottom right, you'll see a reference to a practice-based module. This is the one that stands out from the rest, potentially 30 units in size for people studying the larger qualifications, but will potentially be a work-based study, which we hope will be attractive to co-ops and cooperative employers to give opportunities to their members, to their board members, and also potentially to their staff. So what happens next? Well, as I say, my colleagues are working extremely hard on putting these modules together at the moment. We're authoring them. We will then go through a process of approval and accreditation by the University of Dundee. 3 of our members of staff, 3 of our tutors, will then become associate lecturers at Dundee. That's going to be Amanda Benson, Ali Longdon, and Stacey Salt. And we hope, and I'm touching wood slightly when I say this, that the first closed cohort, so not open recruitment, but a closed cohort of students on a pilot, will attempt one of these modules for the first time, probably in the spring of next year. I think we've got March as a target at the moment. However, the key date, which I hope, if you don't take away anything else from today, although I'm sure you will, please jot this down somewhere, is that we envisage the first openly recruited cohort will begin teaching in September 2024. So it's another good reason to follow us on social media, to keep an eye on our website, keep an eye on our newsletter, because this is a major development for us and something we are moving ahead on at great speed. So briefly, obviously the Dundee programme, the proposition is a really exciting one. However, it's not the only game in town when it comes to learning. And in fact, it is part of what is now quite an extensive suite, which starts at one end of the spectrum with online, self-paced, short courses, which can be completed in under an hour, to, as you've heard, at the other end of that spectrum, potentially a full MBA qualification. So other things, again, which you may have seen us working on during the year, include our other current academic partnership, Spanner in the Works course that we deliver in partnership with Imperial College London, with a new cohort expected to start in the autumn. Please, again, watch our website and our channels for opportunities to sign up for that. Our study tours, and it's been an interesting year of study tours, ranging from a small and very bespoke study tour where we were delighted to welcome a couple of colleagues from the Co-operative Apex in Malta, to what must be the biggest study tour the college has ever embarked upon, where we welcomed 53 co-operators from our partners Climbs in the Philippines, who joined us in and around Manchester and Rochdale for a whole week earlier in the year. We've also recently refreshed our training for organisations offering, and this is training which can be delivered both in a remote and also in a face-to-face mode, and is potentially bespoke and tailorable for clients. And what you may not be aware of is those courses which are currently only offered for organisations, we will be looking to openly recruit to later in the year. So again, it's a bit of a case of watch this space. That's a whistle-stop tour of our cooperative learning theme of our strategy. I recognise that it in no way paints the full picture of the work that Ali Longdon and her team have done during the year. Again, I would encourage you to read a bit more about us and engage with us around some of the work we're doing in learning. But at this point, I'm going to hand back to Jacqui, who's going to talk to you about how we're looking to add really an extra bonus to that learning offer for our members. So Jacqui, I'll hand back to you.
Thanks, Neil. Yes, so we have been reviewing our membership proposition and really trying to understand what membership could and should mean to us as a learning organisation. And the conclusion we've come to is that integrating learning and membership is where we need to be at. So learning should be at the core of our membership proposition, but equally membership has to be central to our learning proposition. So this is the kind of start of the journey. And again, please share your thoughts on this through the Q&A later on. But in practical terms, what this means is that as of autumn of this year, when we hope to launch this, the first thing is we're going to make all of our self-paced online courses free to members as an integral part of your annual membership. There are currently 4 or 5 courses. I'm going to come back. I'll put a link in the chat for those, but we are going to grow those. So we hope that as you start to take these courses, I know some of you will have already taken some of them, but we want you to engage with us and with each other around these courses and share your feedback and your thoughts, your experiences and your ideas as well. So as we look to develop future curriculum and future courses, we hope to be able to draw on you to build that portfolio. The second thing, as Neil's already mentioned, we're developing some of the courses for organisations into something that's openly available for our members as well as for other individuals. So not every organisation has got sufficient staff to warrant, or indeed budget to warrant, a bespoke course. So we're looking at how we can take those courses and have a mixed group of learners within the environment to learn from each other and continue that learning in our communities. And again, members will always receive priority booking opportunities as well as a special member price for our courses. The third thing that we're exploring at the moment is the residential learning. So the study tours that Neil mentioned earlier, we're looking at what could that look like for our membership. So not just a tour based here in the UK, for example, in Manchester, for those at other ends of the country who don't know it so well, but looking at overseas, what could we learn from partners in other countries? So through our network, we're going to look at a short trip overseas, which is going to be done in partnership with other cooperatives as well as potentially Apex and other colleges. Again, you will hear about it first through the membership newsletter. And we will continue to look at affinity benefits for members. So looking at values-based organisations, whether they can offer our membership something special and different, as you might find in other membership organisations. A short survey is going to go out over the summer to kind of test some of these ideas and gather your feedback. So this isn't a one-off opportunity. Please do let us know over the summer so that we can refine the offer before we launch in autumn. And just to say that the organisational membership offer and proposition will also be reviewed in over the coming year. So I'll be coming back to that. So that's the membership update. And I'm just going to give you a quick update on the next strategic theme, which is youth empowerment. We've got 2 key projects that I'm just going to highlight here in the update. The first is our work with DGRV, supporting young co-operators in Colombia, Eswatini and Laos. I don't know if anybody's going to be at the Youth Summit in Birmingham on the 5th of July, but Amanda Benson, our colleague from the learning team, is going to be leading a session there, and she may be sharing some of the early findings and experiences from that work. So please come and say hello if you are going to be at the event. I'll be there as well. And the second is Youth Co-operative Action, which has been a really key focus of our youth empowerment pillar. We're about to come to the end of our final funding round with Co-op Foundation. So by the end of that funding, we will have delivered 7 cohorts of youth cooperative action in Greater Manchester, Lowestoft and London. And thanks also again to Central Co-op, who funded a further youth cooperative action in Lowestoft. The projects have been really well received, but rather than tell you, we've got a short video to show you to give you an indication. Thanks, Neil.
Hi, my name's Daniel Cox, UK Project Manager for the Co-operative College. We're here today in Fainage Park High School with our current cohort of the Youth Co-operative Action Project as they raise awareness for racism and anti-bullying practices as part of their social action event.
Hi, my name's Ariful. I'm a part of the Youth Co-operative Action Project. I feel like the project has helped me a lot with my confidence and a way in life of how to respect people more.
Life was very simple for me. I was part of lots of advocate groups. I was part of the People Voice advocate group, which I still am part of. And I think I didn't really participate much in projects like these. I wasn't aware of issues like racism. I didn't think it meant much to me. I just passed life as if it was normal.
I was experiencing bullying, but now I've kind of put like the advice from the project into my life, so now I'm feeling a lot better with myself. YCA is different to projects because it's like making you more happier and kind of putting more strength into you and more confidence.
I'm more aware of racism and how to prevent it.
I've personally changed a lot. I've gained a lot of confidence. I had a conference back in March and I was able to project my voice there because the YCA project taught me to be like a superhero, to be able to gain confidence, to be able to show that you're confident. I definitely do think cooperative values are important. Whenever I see cooperation in general, the cooperative values snap to my mind.
My favourite thing about the project was probably today's event because it made me happy to see people figuring out what racism is.
How I think I've changed is with my confidence, I've been able to talk to a lot more people than normal.
I feel I've changed into a more aware person, and I feel I can help others and teach them about what racism actually is.
If you have the opportunity, go for it, because the next thing you know, you'll be going on stage, you'll be talking to people, you'll succeed, you won't fail. Even though you might feel a bit jittery at first, that's just the adrenaline that's powering you to success.
One of the main reasons why I got into this kind of youth work was to build young people into the kind of complete holistic adults that they need to be. I'm so proud of the young people because I know where they've come from, and also just having low confidence, being a young person that's inexperienced, finding your way in the world, building them up and making them confident enough to run presentations like the event today, it's priceless. We couldn't have planned for a better day. They did so well, and I think in terms of the day, we couldn't have asked for a better day.
Incredible project. We have taken some feedback from the young people, from our funders, from other co-ops, and we know that we can build on the success of that programme. So what's next? For the coming year, we've got a new programme currently under development. So applying the learning from both the YCA and the cooperative adventure that ran before, it's all about putting cooperative values and principles into action, but making it a much more flexible and scalable programme that can be delivered in a range of environments, and also something that we hope to be able to share internationally so that we can also support young people all over the place through this new programme. We hope to be able to provide you with a further update of that in autumn of the year of this year, so you will hear first, and please do ask questions about that if you've got interest, or drop us a line. We'd be delighted to share more thoughts with you. So thank you. I'm going to hand over to Neil, I think, now for the next strategic theme.
Thank you, Jacqui. So the third of our strategic themes, some of you may recall, was thought leadership. And I'm just going to reflect, first of all, on a couple of the webinars that we held during the year. We were able to bring in a couple of great external speakers for what was a really, really interesting debate about, incidentally, our fourth strategic theme, which is international co-op development. And also, I see that many of you at the meeting today joined us for our ODA cooperation webinar, which was slightly different from anything we've done before, and was run by our learning team, and really was about distilling the essence of cooperative learning. And this is an ongoing project for our team to define this phrase, cooperative learning, which you can find references to in literature going back over 100 years, and hundreds of definitions potentially of it. We're very keen to distill down exactly what that means to us, but to do it in a really open, multi-stakeholder way. So everybody who's been a part of that work, we're really grateful. It's having a real impact on all of the work we do to ensure that we are using a distinctive learning style. And that's quite a difficult thing to deliver on. So please watch this space, because colleagues who've been working on that will be marshalling their thoughts and presenting those in a more formal setting in the weeks and months to come. Thought leadership, though, goes more wide than just webinars. So you will, again, if you followed us on social media or read our newsletters, seen that staff have been out and about, both virtually and also physically, increasingly. So it's been great to have college staff in their college capacity, speaking at the universities, quite diverse, of Cambridge and Derby, also being involved in business school networks and just putting the cooperative college back on the map, and particularly in that international business school networking space. And then in slightly more unexpected settings, perhaps, such as the Scottish Parliament, and also as far afield as the Philippines. So thought leadership to us means getting our voice heard, and getting a voice heard on behalf of the college, and also, of course, on behalf of our members. But we recognise that thought leadership is a very well-defined phrase, and perhaps what we would consider to fall under this strategic theme isn't necessarily what the outside world would always think of as thought leadership. So we're nothing if not committed to continuous improvement and an ongoing review. And you will see really from this day forward that this third strategic theme will now be referred to as networks of knowledge. So that will still include thought leadership work, but also perhaps go a little more broadly. And that sets me up nicely to talk about what's coming next. So later in the summer, it's our intention to launch the Global Cooperative College Network. And one of the real joys for me in my 2 years at the college has been gradually building up this network of cooperative educators and cooperative education institutions really all around the world. But there's also been a realization that although we are keen to be the hub of that network, it's often the case that none of them speak to one another or are even aware of one another's existence. So the launch of the network will allow us to be at the hub, but in a facilitating role to let cooperative educators share good practice with one another, work genuinely cooperatively to improve the quality of learning and teaching and cooperative education. Our next webinar comes before the summer break and will be on the Sustainable Development Goals. And then I'm just going to take this opportunity to talk about the current cooperative identity consultation, which is being carried out by the ICA. And I was very fortunate to be invited to an event hosted by Co-ops East Midlands yesterday, at which we had a great presentation showing us the online tool which the ICA has produced to allow individuals and organisations to respond to this consultation, and also enabling organisations to host their own consultation events. So the aim of the current global consultation is to strengthen our cooperative identity and to test how well our values and principles, as expressed in the identity statement, set cooperatives apart from other business models. So many of you will be aware that Co-ops UK, via the International Working Group, hosted a consultation at Congress last week. All, as I say, all other co-ops and organisations are invited to hold their own consultation. But we, and this is really my point here, will be hosting quite a specific consultation with our members dedicated to Principle 5 and understanding what it means and the extent to which it's fit for purpose and how we may need to feedback on precisely where Principle 5 needs to go in the future. So, you know, it's great to see so many of you at the AGM today. Please keep an eye out for this, because this is something where we would really, really welcome your input as our members. And so to our fourth and final strategic theme, international cooperative development. And I'm going to begin here by showing you another short video, recognizing that many of you may have seen this in different contexts already, but I just want to use this to give some context to the work that we are doing here.
Project that Central Cooperative will be working together with UK Cooperative College and Mafeco. This project is key, is unique in the sense that it is being built and found on the 60th principle, which says cooperation amongst cooperatives. It will create synergies that have not been there before, because it brings the Malawian cooperative movement together with the UK cooperative movement. The gist of this project is the change of approach from aid to trade aid. It can be a flagship project that will demonstrate a different approach of doing things, born with the idea of members, and they'll be able to adjust and develop this project as and how they think.
We've achieved so much in our first year. We've created a range of products in our stores linked to Malawi that fund the work we deliver on the ground. The range includes tea, coffee, nuts, rice and more. Jeru joined the team as project manager in Malawi. We listened to members to help shape our work plans. We supported Mafeco, securing new offices for the team and helping to create new governance and operating structures. We've trained farmers in organic fertilizer production. We've begun discussions to develop a cooperative structure for rice producers. We've developed and delivered training for women and young people. We created Malawi's first tea union. We supported communities affected by Cyclone Freddy. MasterChef winner Shalina Permalu helped us create accessible recipes using the range during Ramadan. We were finalists in the Retail Week and Grocer Gold Awards.
When cooperatives work together, they help each other improve incomes, and those incomes will help families or households to be food secure, be able maybe to send their children to school, and we will be able to contribute even to the various SDGs, because there will be employment creation, food security, reduction of poverty. That's it, the beauty of cooperation.
So as I say, a number of you may have seen that video before, and those eagle-eyed amongst you will have spotted my colleague Sarah Aldred, who I know many of you know very well, appearing a number of times in that video. So this project, our Malawi partnership, is something that the college is really, really proud to work on with Central Co-op. And we talked a little bit about this last year, but the last 12 months has really been the point at which this has taken off. So you will have seen, or you can see from the slide here, that we've been involved in a visit with the president of Central Co-op to review existing work plans and develop new plans, and you'll see lots of works going on there supporting the staff in country working on the Our Malawi partnership. There's some figures in there. You'll see a training of over 500 farmers in organic fertilizer and good agriculture practice, and the planting of 1,000 new macadamia trees Yesterday, I was also privy to some further statistics provided by Central Co-op, which actually numbered the cups of tea and coffee which will have been made by the products that have been able to be traded in the UK through Central Co-op as a result of this partnership. And I wish now, I'm kicking myself, that I had written those down, but they were in the tens of thousands, so incredibly impressive. I think the important thing to stress is that this partnership is something which works right across all 4 of our key strategic themes. And most importantly, it is all about learning. So while you've seen the video of people being out in Malawi and obviously supporting those farmers and those producers and the trade that takes place, I should also say that last week our learning team worked with the learning staff from Mafeco to begin to upskill them in learning and teaching practices in a mutually supportive way to create their own community of practice. So this isn't simply about trade, although the trade element of it is crucially important. It is all about learning, and the college is very proud to be right at the heart of it. And as really a précis of work that we hope is coming over the next 12 months, we're also engaged in preliminary work with the Zambian Cooperative College. And again, people who follow us online or our newsletters will know that we had senior civil servants from Zambia who came and joined us in Manchester in the autumn with a view to putting in place a programme of capacity building. We now think we're at a stage where that's about to move forward, and obviously based on the successes of the work we've done in Malawi and in many other places in Africa in previous years, we'll be really keen to take an opportunity we hope to extend into another country. So that was a whistle-stop tour of our 4 strategic themes. I hope that from that you've got a bit of a taste for what we've been doing, a bit more of a taste for what's to come. If I'm absolutely honest, we could have tripled the length of the meeting today, and there would have been a queue of my colleagues really keen to speak to you passionately and informatively about the work that they're doing, and it would all have been interesting and it would all have been fabulous. It really has been an incredibly exciting year for the college. Jacqui's already referred to the fact that, you know, we are still on a journey, and we are extremely grateful for all the cooperative institutions that are supporting us and partnering with us on that journey. But I hope that's given you a bit of a flavour for what we're doing. So at that point, I am going to hand back to the chair. Thank you, Jon.
Thank you very much, Neil and Jacqui. And I just want to take this opportunity on behalf of all of the trustees to thank all of the staff of the college, because as you have seen from those presentations, there's been a huge amount achieved and some really exciting opportunities going forward. So, we've used the metaphor a number of times today, but that we are on a journey, but I used the word at the beginning, transformation. It does feel like we are in that process of transformation, and there's a real scope for the college to become what we've set out in that strategy, to become a global force for cooperative education, cooperative learning as we move forward. So next up, I'm sorry, I haven't got the agenda in front of me because I'm doing this on an iPad. Apologies. Am I doing the trustee results? Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I was doing that before the question and answer. Sorry, that was very unprofessional of me. Okay, so I've mentioned the trustees, and now's the opportunity to say farewell and thank you to a few people, and also to announce the results of our trustee election. So firstly, I'd like to thank Vivian Waddell, who for the last few years has been the Co-operatives UK appointed trustee of the college, and to welcome Jane de Villiers, who is the newly appointed trustee by Co-operatives UK, who took over earlier in the year. It's already proving a valuable member of the board. I'd like to pay huge thanks to, I think, our longest serving trustee, Pam Maxwell, who has been our learner trustee since the college was reinstituted as a charity. And that continuity is incredibly valuable. And we will be appointing a new learner trustee later in the year. That's not an elected post in the same way as the others. And then the final of the appointed or specific posts. And just to be absolutely clear, this is an end of being a member of the board, very definitely continuing as a key member of staff. You saw him in the film earlier, Daniel, who, as well as being our learning manager, has been the staff trustee for the past number of years, is stepping down as staff trustee coming to the end of his term, and there'll be new elections for a new staff trustee over the summer. So the other people I need to thank are John Boyle and Ruth Hall, both elected as individual members at previous AGMs who have come to the end of their terms and not seeking re-election. So huge range of experience there that's been offered to the college, which we are incredibly grateful. So thank you very much to all of them. You may have noticed that we put out the nominations call for trustees earlier in the year. We didn't have more nominations than places this year, so there was no need for election. And if we could bring the slide up, I'm very pleased to announce our new trustees, Barbara Rainford, elected from the organisational members category, both Simon Thompson and Grant Watson-Croft elected from the individual members. So very pleased to welcome them to the board as elected members, Simon having previously been co-opted. I look forward to working with you at the next trustees meeting. And I think now we'll move on to the Q&A. So hopefully one of my colleagues has got the Q&A up, see if there are any questions. If you haven't stuck them in yet, please do now. There was a lot of stuff there, so hopefully something to get your teeth into.
Thank you, John. What I would say to members and friends at the meeting today is that I hope that we're now reasonably accessible for you all, and I hope that there's lots of ways in which you're able to engage with us and to ask questions. So while it would be great to have some questions that we can respond to today, I know that we do spend quite a bit of time engaging increasingly with our members, and we are always available both for your suggestions, for your support, and also for your questions. So as I say, if there's something to go in today, that's fine. If not, I think you know how to get hold of us.
So we've got a question from Jenny, of our new trustees or newer trustees.
I'm happy to pick that one up, John, if that's okay. So the question's from Jenny de Villiers. Could you advise the college's work on wider members to co-ops, as this has been raised with me? I assume there, Jenny, but please correct me if I'm wrong, this is a reference to organisations which perhaps are not technically co-ops, but are in the kind of values-based organisation space, might be considered co-op adjacent. If I'm wrong, then forgive me and please correct me. And what I would say is that certainly organisational membership of the college is open to a wider range of organisations. And in particular, I know we have a number of academic institutions who are organisational members, and we would welcome those organisations and anybody who has something to contribute as an organisational member. What I would also say, and I see my colleague Ali London's on the call as well and might want to add to this, is that increasingly we are finding opportunities to work with organisations which are, again, co-op adjacent, values-based organisations, in terms of them being clients for some of the values-based training that we do. Ali, I don't know, you don't have to, but if there's anything you want to add to that, please feel free to do so.
I don't think there's too much I need to add, but just to confirm what you were saying, is that for us, it's, say, an organisation may not be sort of legally a cooperative, but that their own values and ways of working are very much aligned to our own, and we see that as a way of spreading the cooperative message in a way, that I'm putting the cooperative values and principles into action, which is apparent in all the work we do, is that we keep the values sort of central and to the forefront of that work, regardless of the organisation that we're working with.
Thanks, Ali. And I know Jenny's followed up there also about building awareness to all members of co-ops too. And that's a really helpful point, Jenny. Thank you. I should take this opportunity to thank Jenny, who, as you've heard, is one of our members, who invited me to the Co-ops East Midlands event yesterday. And I think I would take this opportunity as well just to say, please feel free to invite us to join and participate in events that you are holding in and around your own co-ops or networks of co-ops around the country. We do envisage, now we're more settled with our learning offer, having a bigger presence at major co-op events over the next 12 months. But I think some of the perhaps more regional, smaller, more specialist networks where actually we're perhaps able to engage more closely with people who are working on the ground with members would also be great opportunities for us. So having looked down the delegate list, there's lots of people who are involved in lots of networks and organisations. Please approach us and let us know if there's something we can do to contribute to those networks, because we'd be really keen to do so and to both make more people aware of what we do, but also get more feedback about demand, about the kind of cooperative education and programs that some of those wider members would like from us.
Great, thanks Neil and Ali, and thanks to everyone for coming along today. I'm conscious that we don't eat into your afternoons any more than we've already said, and I'm sure that if any of you have got a 3 p.m. Zoom call following this, or a 4 p.m. Zoom call following this, sorry, lost track of the time. Neil, is there anything final we need to say before we head off?
I guess just one point which a colleague has reminded me of in the chat, John, linked to the question we've just had from Jenny. So we are in the process of, we've commissioned an organisation to do an insight piece on our behalf, contacting quite a really long list of co-ops and similar organisations to get that insight into the kind of learning needs that organisations of all types across the sector might have. So it's just a request really from us. If that drops into your inbox or to somebody else's in your organisation, please do engage with it. If you're an organisation that isn't targeted by that, but you'd like to talk to us, then please get in touch, because we've, this journey that we've referred to a number of times, we are now at a point where, we're keen to get some really detailed insight as to what people might need. So as we kind of finesse the offer that we've got. So any engagement that people can have with that would be great. But no, other than that, John, I think that's everything from the team. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you once again to all of the staff team. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending today. And as has been said, please do look out for the emails, the social media updates about the progress of all the exciting developments we've been talking about today. And if you've got any questions that you didn't have a chance to answer today, please do get in touch. And we look forward to seeing you either on the internet or perhaps in person at one of the many events coming up. So thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.